Picture this. A single mom of two gets diagnosed with leukemia. She begins missing many days of work due to treatment. Slowly, the bills begin piling up, and soon she is not able to provide for her family, let alone make the payments on their home. As a last resort, she applies for disability, a form of welfare, where she is accepted into the program and begins receiving money to help provide for her family. Now picture this. You're in the grocery store. The woman in front of you opens her wallet and pulls out a Lone Star card, a form of welfare. In the process, a wad of cash falls out. She picks the wad of cash up off the table and stuffs it back into her wallet and proceeds to pay with her Lone Star card. She then gathers her groceries and leaves the store. After paying for your own groceries, you then leave the store as well. When you step into the parking lot, you notice the woman with the Lone Star card stepping into a brand new Cadillac and driving away. Based on these two stories I just told you, welfare has both its good and bad sides. Unfortunately, we are seeing more and more of the bad sides than the good. People are taking advantage of a system that wasn't meant to be long-term support for over a third of the population, and that's not even including Social Security or Medicare. America is depending on the government too much through welfare. What once was a safety net is now a crutch. Welfare today has evolved over the years, and what it has become is an easy way for people to not work and still get paid. Because of this, there needs to be reform. So today, I will explain the reason why welfare reform is so important by telling you the beginning of welfare and its original intent, what welfare has become today, and its flaws. Most people do not realize the history and original intent of welfare. Most people, when thinking of welfare, they think of the Great Depression. But what most people don't realize is America has always had some form of welfare, going back as far as the original colonies. During the time period of the original colonies, welfare was known as the British Poor Laws. The Poor Laws separated the people who couldn't work because of age or health problems from the people that were able to work but were unemployed. The people that couldn't work due to age or health were given support in different forms, such as money or food, much like today. The people who could work but were unemployed were sent to public workhouses. After America was established, there were several programs that were created to help the poor. In the late 1800s, there were several programs that provided caseworkers to visit the poor and train them on morals and proper etiquette. Their goal was to help the poor get a job, to halt the assistance from the government. Leading up to the Great Depression, the government tried to help the poor, and in 1862, they created the Civil War pension that helped aid Civil War veterans and their families. The Great Depression and the official start and intent of welfare. During the Great Depression, millions of people lost their jobs. Families split up, and a fourth of the workforce lost their jobs. In response to this, President Roosevelt came up with the New Deal. The New Deal was a plan to provide old age insurance program, federal unemployment and benefits for dependent people, and poor single mothers with children. Welfare was officially put into play on August 18, 1935, by the Social Security Act. This act made it so that states had to contribute 1/3 that the federal government gave to needy, dependent children, as well as old people, crippled children, and the needy blind. The eligibility was up to the states. What welfare looks like today. Today, there are more people on welfare than ever before. There is now close to 185 programs that are specifically made to prevent and help poverty. They range from unemployment training programs to housing programs and even nutrition programs. All of these programs are costing the government $1 trillion a year, and yet 1 out of 6 Americans are still on food stamps. They have reported that although past presidents have increased the amount spent on these programs, our current president trumps them all with a whopping 40% rise in spending to a total of $927 billion, up from the $431 billion spent on welfare programs in the past. Yet the amount of people on welfare is still rising. Welfare has many flaws. Welfare discourages work ethic, costs taxpayers money, and contains fraud. A flaw is that all of these government handouts discourages work ethic. The American dream is disappearing due to the fact that some people can live better off the government welfare than if they had an actual job. They have it in their head that they don't have to work. The government, more like the taxpayers, will cover it. Speaking of the taxpayer, 43% of immigrants that have been in the United States for 20 years are still on welfare. In fact, statistics show that the majority of families on welfare across the U.S. are legal or illegal immigrant families. In Arizona, 62% of illegal immigrants are on welfare. That means that the taxpayer, you and I, are paying for the person that is not a U.S. citizen to live in a home that could very well be better than our own and not lift a finger for work. Now, you may be thinking, fraud doesn't happen that often, but wrong again. 24% of applications turned into welfare have some type of fraud, and 69% of cases that have been investigated turn out to be fraudulent. This tells me that once again, taxpayers, you and I, are being taken advantage of. In conclusion, I do know that there are many people in the United States that benefit from welfare, and I believe that welfare, if used to help families get back on their feet, is a good thing. On the other hand, there are too many people taking advantage of the welfare program, and it needs to be reformed. Our government truly needs to look over the program because it is supporting too many people for too long. The program is still growing and costing more money and contains too much fraud. My plea is for everyone to get on board and call your state's congressman and push for reform of the United States welfare program.